This is 3.4, factoring expressions. Factoring an expression means writing the expression as a product of factors. So that means that we would have two things multiplied by each other to make the original expression. And this would mean we are undoing the distributive property. We are always going to factor out the greatest common factor unless otherwise specified. We need things to be factored completely unless we are told what we are factoring out, and that might be different than the DCF. So if we are going to factor 24x minus 16, I need to find factors of 24, and that is 3 and 8. Factors of 16 are 2 and 8. I could continue down and see what their greatest common factors are. They each have 3 2's, and 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So I know the greatest common factor is 8, and that is going to go on the outside of parentheses because we are undoing distributive property, and then on the inside of parentheses are going to be the leftovers from each number. So the leftovers from 24x, if I take out an 8, are 3 and x. The leftovers from 16, if I take out 8 and a 2, are 2. It was subtracting original, so it's going to be subtracting in my answer. If we are factoring 15x plus 25, numbers that multiply to 15 are 3 and 5. And this is great because 5 is a match for 25, so then leftovers are 3x and 5. Factoring 1/2 x plus 5 over 2, they both have a common denominator of 2, and so I want to factor out a 1/2, and 1/2 times 5 gives 5 over 2. So this is not. If it's 1/2 times x plus 5, that would be our answer. And sometimes one of the numbers, it could be the coefficient or the constant, is the greatest common factor. So now we are told that we are factoring out the coefficient, and of 5 plus 2.5q. So a coefficient is the number in front of the variable, and 2.5 is the number in front of our variable q. So I'm going to factor that out. 2.5 times 2 gives 5, and so 2.5 goes on the outside, 2 plus q goes on the inside. Over here we have 3/4 x minus 3 over 2. Coefficient is 3/4. So if I have 3 over 2 and then I take out a 3/4, to get this 2, I would take my number, divide by 3 over 4, and that will give me an answer of 2 to make sure that I have the other number inside parentheses here. So now we are going to factor out the indicated number. Indicated means the one that they tell us. So they tell us, take out a -4 out of -8y minus 12. So 8 and 12 have common factors of 4. That is what they told us to take out, so that's going to go on the outside. And then since I take out a negative number here, -4 times +2 makes -8. So I have +2 here. -4 times +3 makes -12. So I have to have +3 here as well. And then we factor out -15 out of -15d plus 90. So I know that -15 is -15 times 1, and -15 times -6 makes 90. So that means I would have -15 on the outside, and d minus 6, because it's -6, on the inside. Alright, this problem says a rectangular landing platform for a rocket is 80 yards wide and has an area of 80x plus 6,400 square yards. Write an expression that represents the perimeter in yards of the platform. So we are going to factor out the width to get the length. because I know area is length times width, and it tells me the width. So if I have area is length times width, I factor it out in 80, and 80 times 80 is 6,400. 80 times x is 80x. So the area is length times width, but it asked me about the perimeter, and so we need to get perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So plugging in length and width here, I would get 2 times x plus 80 plus 2 times 80. Then I'm going to distribute this 2 to get 2x plus 60 plus 160, and then 160 and 160 is 320 plus 2x, and then this is as far as I can simplify because we do not have any more like terms. So the perimeter is 2 times x, whatever that may be, plus 320.